Hello. I am gonna play some Warframe because I felt like playing some Warframe. Sorry. I've been like shaking for like a few hours now, and I don't know if it's anxiety or some physical symptom of something. I don't know what it is. I thought I'd stream to distract myself, because maybe I'm just fixating it on it too much, and it's become a self-fulfilling prophecy of sorts. Let's see. I'm gonna try to. Oh man, when did William go live? Wait, how long has he been live? Maybe it's not too late to end it. 8 minutes. I can't watch William stream anyway, because he's playing a game I haven't played yet. I don't know, I'm like really shaky. And I don't really know why. And I'm just hoping I said, told my mom, like, if it doesn't stop, then we'll probably go to the hospital, but we'll see. Do multivitamins expire? I took one of these for the first time today. Maybe these are doing it. Maybe I'm getting too much folic acid, choline, bitartrate. Maybe I just have too much inositol, or perhaps vitamin E, or perhaps vitamin D, or perhaps vitamin C. I don't feel anxious. Like, I feel fine. So I don't know what's happening. Welcome to my multivitamin ASMR. There's a multivitamin stuck in your ear ASMR. I hope that sounded horrible. Fuck you. Sorry, I didn't mean it. What did I just do? Oh, I just dragged something in my Discord. I thought it broke. Well, I didn't mean to go live at the same time as William. I didn't even realize he was live. I mean, not that I'm gonna usurp his viewers. We're playing different games, and I guess I don't know. I don't know. I still feel weird about it for some reason. Been chasing stars so long. I don't know if this is. I'm trying to stream without using the starting soon screen. So to offset it, I'm just like allowing my brain to ramble for like 5 minutes until I start playing a game. Because I assume the reason people wanted a stream starting soon screen is because they wanted like a buffer so they didn't miss any gameplay. So if I just start streaming, chat for a bit, talk about things, then I feel like maybe that'll offset it. But I don't know. Maybe they want. I don't know. I might ask a question akin to that in a poll. Really need a new microphone stand. This thing is funked. It's got like there's like a screw that went through it originally, and I lost it. So now I just have a very large screw that does not fit, just like barely holding it together. Maybe I should just tape it, actually. But then I don't know how well it would move. I guess. I don't know. I'd probably just get a new one. Because this one's like creaky and loud. I can't move it without you hearing it. It might just be a Blue Yeti thing. Blue Yeti is. It's been a decent microphone that's served me well for a long time. But I think next time I get a microphone, I'm going to upgrade. Because it hears too much. I feel like there's one more thing I wanted to say. Maybe not. I think we're good. So yeah, we're gonna play Warframe today. We've been hunting after the Nidus Prime. We need the Nidus Prime blueprint and the Nidus Prime chassis. because we have Nidus Prime Neuroptics and Nidus Prime Systems. So I have 3 shots, I believe. I have 3 relics remaining that have a chance at chassis, and I think I have 4 for just the regular old blueprint. Oh, lag, dropping frames. Oh, hold up. I'm dropping frame. My internet's been a little weird lately. Which prime are you going for? Nidus Prime. Because I basically... Why am I dropping frames? There we go, we're back, I think. I basically just... I really wanted a Prime Warframe. What parts you need? Chassis and the blueprint. We can relic share. I'm down. I have friends on. If anyone on my friends list wants to join, feel free. Well, I'll just show. I really wanted a Prime Warframe, so my internet seems like it's having a time. Did I just die? No. My internet is struggling, I think. Free Tellurium. I'm pogging to hear this. I don't know, my bit rate seems a little inconsistent. Do I have something open that's doing something? That sounded like a burp. It was not. It was a deep sigh. I mean, a deep I think I don't know if I have you on my friends list, but you can add me. I'm on friends only while doing this. Yeah, I wanted a Prime Warframe because they're cool as shit. So I just went through all my relics and just looked up like any Warframe I knew, and just tried to see if I had or happened to have all access to the pieces. So the only problem is I also need a lot of void traces. Because if I go Nidus, I have Neuroptics and Systems. This is not the right blueprint. And then I have 3 of these, which has Nidus Prime as uncommon, so 3 chances there. The Systems. I have 2 chances at the chassis here. Systems. That's Nidus Prime, so I have 4 chances total there. Yeah, so what's this one? Systems. So I have 4 chances at the actual blueprint. It feels weird for me to say I have 4 chances at the blueprint because they're all blueprints. And then I have 4 chances, 3 chances, I think. I don't know. I'm getting it all mixed up for the chassis. Blueprint and chassis, right? Yeah. But I don't actually even know if these relics are available. But basically, my plan is get everything I can. Hopefully ideally, I just get everything myself, or with help if anyone wants to join. If it doesn't work out, then I'll look into how the market works, and maybe I'll sell some of my stuff for platinum so I can buy the stuff I want for platinum. I'm not really sure how it works. I have to learn, but I know there's some platinum trading type stuff happening. So that's my backup plan if I ended up being like a piece of... I need traces to refine from. I also need ruin traces. So I was going to start with that. Did I say... Is ruin traces right? That sounded wrong. Void traces? Did I say ruin traces? I've been playing a lot of RuneScape. I got a fun task. I'm having a really good time grinding it, but I don't know if I should say what it is. Oh, these things are... Carrion hordes trill their profane accord with eldritch plans. Oh, you need these to like kill the freak, I think. Let's grind some void traces. Let's do it. Do I have you on this? I think I do. Commune friends. Are you man whomst of rams? The man rammer. Yeah, I got you. Yeah. I don't know what your go-to is. My go-to right now is just like I'll open like any relic I have and just like I don't know if you need anything else you want to go for. I don't know. I'm just kind of like I'm just opening anything I have a bunch of. Like I have 8 of these. Or I'm opening any relics I have that even if I didn't get like I could get anything and it'd still be new for me is what I'm trying to say. The best is endless mission because you get more relics. True. I forgot about that part of it. I was trying to do interceptions, I think the domination ones are called. And they were like not even spawning enough fellas for me to have a chance. I do gotta remember I reset my Trinity's level, I formed it, so I do need some levels. Yeah, that's a little too much for you, boy. We could do the survival. Yeah, this one's probably fine. I'm sure I'm at level 0. I can hang here. Yeah, I'm still like shaking. I don't know. I have like some internal shaking happening. And I was hoping, I could come on stream and I could chill out a bit. I don't know what the hell is happening. I'm hoping it's nothing serious. Yeah, I'll hop on that. Yeah, it's probably better if you pick. I'm assuming, like, this survival one looks okay. Stickney Phobos. Full body cum. Oh, God, I hope not. Could you imagine? Cum pouring out at every damn orifice? Like I'm a star of the porn variety? Hit me with it. Okay, now I just gotta look through. What can I get? I'm looking for, like, if I have, like, 2... Or if I only have, like, 1 of these 3 things in the bronze tier, I'm usually good to go. I know I've, like, done this a million times now, but it's not like I memorized this shit. I think I could get an Avara Prime Neuroptics. This is also for the Nidus Prime systems, but I don't need those. But if I get them, then it's just ducats. Even if I get dupes, it's not that bad. So I'll do this one. If I'm making a mistake... Yell at me. I thought the screen wasn't going to disappear for some reason. Hell yeah. Spencer, you want to get in on this gnarly relic farming? What Warframe is that? Who is this? Who are you? I don't know, he looks real radical. What gun do I have? Oh no, I brought the Bratton! Ah, shit! I forgot. I wanted to have fun today. I'm gonna fall off hard in the early game and never recover. Next one? Sounds good to me, broheem. Alright, so in survival we want to find like a corridor, like a dead end, and like funnel them into hyper hell, correct? At least my Bratton will have max level of this. Presumably. I hope. I'm what, level... Yeah, I'm level 29. I'm gonna sell this goddamn gun as soon as I'm done. I don't know the tile, like, layouts. Oh, yeah, I gotta heal my... Wait, I have all my abilities? Oh, do you keep all your abilities if you rank up? I thought you lost them all if you formed. Right. I gotta actually be, like, helpful to my homies. All my homies. Ding ding ding. All my fellas. Hey, they time that? They coordinate that? I don't know. I feel like, aren't we supposed to, like, find, like a good old hallway or something and just let them... I mean, I don't know. We're not supposed to do anything. We're supposed to kill the enemies. Oh, if we're killing the enemy. I mean, there's no, like, hard and fast rules, is basically all I'm saying. Is reactive separate with other people? I'm learning... I don't know the intricacies of playing with another human. Non-sexual. But can become sexual if there's consent and interest. MK1 Piston. He's spitting legitimate factoids. What do you mean invalid target? I mean, this feels like where I'm gonna shine. Being able to actually heal people. I love it here. And give them energy? I gotta do that more often. I gotta keep an eye on my... Oh wait, can I? Never mind. I thought I could see my teammate. Oh no, I can. Is that the energy bar under the health? You gotta think about my homies. I got my damn head ripped off. Oh, this gun is upsetting. It already feels like I'm just doing... Well, okay, it's like kind of a fine. But it's gonna feel like kind of not fine at all very soon. Oh, ether daggers are also level 29. We're gonna hit some... I think we're gonna hit some 30s. Or we should, hopefully. Get some level 30 stuff. I have to... I mean, I'll probably use good stuff so we can do better missions, but... We'll see how it goes. We're leveling up pretty quick. Dude, I'm like overwhelmed trying to like be a good support. I mean, not that we need support, these guys are piss babies, but you know what I mean? I'm like, you know, I still want to like learn to do it for when the guys aren't piss babies. When they aren't urine toddlers. Don't even get me started on the piss adults. The worst of all the kinds. Do you get more XP playing with other people? Because I feel like I'm getting more XP than I'd usually get. I can't tell if I'm tripping off to epic ecstasy. Or maybe it's just because I'm leveling a Warframe like from 0. No, I'm definitely getting more. I feel like I usually don't get so much XP in the stuff I'm not using. I want your Oxium, coward. Oh, the brat in level 30. Now I get to use these sick little mamas. I'm exploding? Non-sexual? What? Who's humping me? Humping at this hour? Yeah, I'll take some of our prime neuroptics. Oh, I got more void traces if for the... Okay, so I should try to be a homie. And if I... Well, I mean, I'm not going to take something else if I don't want it, but, you know, I should try to. Oh, I have to decide fast. Let's see... Yeah, this one looks good. Wait, that's systems. That's systems I do not need. That's fine. Yeah, let's do this one. Dude, I didn't know you got also bonus void traces for jamming on things with your homies. Dude, I've been sleeping on the power of friendship. Friendship kind of broken. I'm gonna break this guy's ribs. He's out of here. I don't want to like ruin some setup that Riley potentially set up that I'm just unprivy to. Definitely feels like they're getting stronger faster as well, but that, like, makes sense. Alright, we're murdering the man. In this instance, I follow exclusively because I'm socially awkward and scared of making mistakes in front of others. Due to a life of being told being vulnerable in front of others makes you weak. Don't tell anyone I said that, though. Oh, I didn't even pick it up. My dumb ass. This gun. Repulsive. I don't even know if I have a new primary to switch to. All I want is if I switch to a new primary, please don't inhale vile ass. Just be a good gun. Also, I want to say that William has started streaming on his own. He's playing Darksiders 1. Please go give him a follow. I will link his channel in a moment. And, you know, watch him play video games because I think William, don't ever tell him I complimented him, but I think he has he's very naturally good at, like the whole, like, streaming thing. He's very good at being his authentic self and presenting a good, enjoyable streaming atmosphere. And he's not really done it that much. So, if you're gonna get in on the ground floor of what's gonna be one of the most goated streamers, no doubt, of all time. Even if he doesn't, like, pop off and become, like, famous, it's still gonna be true. It's still just a fact. Jake, you fool. What? Being a good streamer is being a hype beast. Oh. Well, yeah, he also, like, loves G Fuel and hates women. Isn't that's what all good streamers do, right? Whoa! I fucking hate Thumpotron. I'm trying to fucking... I'm knocked down, huh? Hey! Dagger Master 3 achievement. How did I die so fast? Well, I was gonna alt-tab and try to get the link. Not authenticity? That's true, that's true. People do hate authenticity. Which I wish was a joke, but it seems like that really is the case most days. Wow, it is way easier to keep the survival or the life support up when you're with literally, I'm only with one other person and it feels so much easier. Granted, we are on a somewhat low-level mission for our level. I just, we needed something endless. Give me your juice. Give me your juice with, like, the other flavor. I really appreciate that if you kill someone who's vampired, they, just give you all the sauce immediately. Kill 150 enemies with heat damage. Did I do that? I don't think I did that. I think I should be blessing us more. Because energy is barely an issue. Oh my god, this gun, man. I'm pogging. I don't have this. I will take that. Oh, apparently I have a thing for opening relics. Did they just roll over or something? At 9:30? That can't be right. No, this is just my first mission of the day. Okay, let's see. Don't have that, don't have that. Don't have that. Alright. Wait. I gotta also make sure it isn't the one that has the stuff I want. Okay, I should have more than 100 void traces, but... Or no, I guess I haven't claimed them from this mission yet, officially, so maybe not? I'll check between next... I'll check. I guess I'll just use these so they can level up. I mean, it would be pretty sick if I could stop using these as well. My whole leveling setup right now is... baby diaper energy. Which I don't know if you're aware of this, but that's kind of not an energy you want to exude. It's a bad energy to have. I feel so slow. What is happening? Oh, I'm not... I assume reacting is separate, and I'm not just, like, stealing all of it. And by assume, I mean hope. But also, I am assuming that. But also, I am hoping that's the case as well. I'm doing both. I'm kind of in awe at how much faster stuff levels up with one other person. And realizing that, like, my... hundreds of hours in Warframe has been completely nerfed by my inability to play with other people. Or my unwillingness. I was actually thinking about trying to play with other people, like, the randoms. To just, like, kind of break out of my shell a bit more. But I didn't work on it. I hadn't worked myself up to it yet. It's very weird that... I don't know, social anxiety is so strange because, like... interacting, like, interfacing with someone directly in, like, a game like this is nerve-wracking as shit. But streaming itself is, like, fine. Like, talking to people in chat is fine. I don't know, it's, like, weird how it manifests in different ways. It's a very strange thing. My teeth feel weird? This guy's got a fucking huge shield. You see this guy's 3,000 HP shield? He's cheating, right? Like, I hate to be that guy, but he is cheating. Give me your goddamn energy. Oh my god, these guns. To put it bluntly, they are not him. This is like when Rock Lee takes off the foot pads or the leg weights against Gaara. That's what this feels like. Except instead of taking something off, I just added one other human being. Which, I guess in that context, kind of is cheating. You know, you don't get a partner in the tuning exams. That would have been unfair. My point is, this is kind of ridiculous. Like how much, little baby? How much easier it feels? Good God. And how much faster I'm leveling up. Why does my frame feel so slow? Dude, every fucking time I play this game, I get the... I keep getting the mainframe song from Borderlands the pre-sequel stuck in my goddamn head. It's a bop, to be fair. They knew what they were doing when they made that. I mean, the whole quest is... I mean, that's the whole point of the quest. Okay, hopefully... I gotta try quickly to see if I can... Lex Prime Barrel. I don't have this, so I'll take this so Riley gets some more Void Traces. Even though both are fine. I assume... Because Riley gets some... Yeah, I'm being a good Samaritan. Okay. Let's look at Nidus. Prime Chassis. That's what I need, right? No, I do not get the Void Traces yet. Okay, well then I will just pick something else for now. Yep, that's fine. I think a big part of the social anxiety thing, I think a big part that helps me with it is, like, trusting people to be like, hey, you're doing something wrong when I'm doing something wrong. Like, I think if I had that, like, mental security of knowing people will be like, hey, you know, you should probably, like, go this way, or do this way, I'd feel a lot less insecure about it. But at the same time, I'll then feel guilty because I'm like, well, I shouldn't rely on other people to make me feel better. That's like leads into the validation stuff. I shouldn't do that. What I'm saying is, shit's fucked. My brain's a nightmare factory. And the product is like really good toothpaste. We make toothpaste. I emit toothpaste. What if you nut and then it come out like toothpaste? Gross, right? But like kinda cool. And 3 Harrowed Chassis blueprints. What if you pissed in reverse? Oh, my favorite band. They made that song, What if good girls pissed bad guys? I've pissed this question for a really long day. 'Cause I had a bad piss and it's plain to see. So why don't good girls piss in love with me? See, the joke is that song was made by Falling in Reverse. And you said pissed in reverse. Also, what does that mean? Now that I actually take in your message, what is pissing in reverse? Other than a terrible parody band that is now swimming around in my head. Why don't good girls piss on me? Damn. Rodney Radke went crazy with that line. When the pee goes in. So, like, sounding with a liquid is what you're telling me to do. If I have... Yes. I mean, it sounds fine to do. Why is it said my GLaDOS ranked up to 28 or 24, but they're 28, they're 29 now in the menu. Maybe that's with the bonus XP after the mission ends. So that's like, assuming you get out of here alive, that's what you'll get. So if I have the thing that makes it so my abilities give shields based on the energy spent, and my ability heals a person, do they also get shield? Or is that just something my 4 does that I've never noticed? I'm also running out of energy. It only gives it to unless it says otherwise. Okay, I figured, but I used my 4 and I saw Riley's shield shoot up, so I didn't know if that was a coinky-dink or a something else that I can't a quinky donk. A quinky donk. A quinky dank. Which is the opposite of a quinky dink, which is a coincidence. So not a coincidence. Blast restores shields and like, oh! Okay, so it just does that. It just does this. Okay, I really thought I was on one when I was like, oh, what if I put that mod on that makes it so I get energy back based on my shields, but I was not ever on one at any point. It just does that, and I can't read. I'm garbage. What the fuck, bro? What the fuck? I'm getting the shit kicked out of me. Bah! What? Who's doing that? Who put me in the damn bouncy castle? I just want to talk. I thought he was low for some reason. He was not. And perhaps it never will be. Oh, another relic. I want the Oxium. Okay, he killed himself. Very cool. Ugh. It's rough out here. Resource drop chance booster. Oh, you automatically get a relic at 5. Oh. Alright. Do I have this? Don't have this. Garuda Prime? This seems good. Oh, you want no relic? Oh, wait, are we done? Or no, I feel like we should do one more for the extra relic, right? And then dip? Or is that incorrect? I'm getting owned? Perhaps this is why? Yeah, next time I'm gonna bring guns that don't consume the most vile ass. That's my... I resolved to do this. What do you mean 25, you liar? Imagine lying to me. On my birthday. It's not, but they're gonna feel real bad. And I get a free brownie. Cease. Oh, okay. Stop it. Stop moving. Oh my god, this gun is upsetting to wield. Secondary weapon and increased damage on unlimited ammo. Okay. Heard. Hey, second wind. Damn, he's hot. I like that helmet. Hopefully it'll go a lot better next time because I barely have mods on because I was level 0. Oh my god, my guns. This thing's just taunting me, man. Whoa. Please stop murdering me. You gotta understand. I don't like getting murdered. I don't want to sound unreasonable or nothing, but I really kind of don't like it. It's just like one of my personal prefs. God, I feel so weak. Green? Excuse. This is overwhelming as hell. Like, I'm good, but, like, I'm just... There's a lot. He's good. He's fine. Oh, these guns. I got my reactor. Yeah, we're good. Oh. Did my link just link no one? Hello? Oh, my nose. Ah! Huh? Oh, I never linked William's Twitch. Let me do that. You know what? I'll wait till we're done. Alright. Now if you're down, I would like to go trade in for my... So get a relic, and then... Oh, do you just don't... Oh, I guess he doesn't get anything because he didn't put one in. I think we go no relic, correct? And then we dip. And then, yeah. My teeth feel weird? Should I be worried? Give me 3 minutes, yo, join. Okay. Green? Whoa. Damn, that glass is clean. That's explosion barrel. Just kidding. Honestly, kind of cringe that the devs made the alloy barrels look so much like the explosion barrels. It's not my fault I never learned the difference. It couldn't be. It's part of the ARG for sure. Alright, that's some loot. Good lord. Gaia's Tragedy. What's this? Enemies killed, explode, dealing 100 damage shortly after death. I like the Avara Primer in our optics, that's fun. Okay. I got 85 melee kills, so you're welcome. Alright, let me link William. Clink Billiam. I mean, you can also just... He's in the Discord, so you can just go there. He's playing Darksiders 1, and like I said, I would watch the stream myself, but he wanted me to play through the Darksiders games, so I am avoiding spoilers. I went in for a little bit last night, but I didn't want to stick around because I didn't want to be spoiled. Okay, I gotta like reset up like all my shit. Because I just got all new stuff. Okay, MK1 Bratton, I'm selling you to the piss dimension where you belong. I only have one gun, and it's a bore. I don't trust this gun. It does not look like a gun that inspires confidence in me. I'm gonna bring my good stuff for this, but... So I guess I can do this later. Sure, man. And oh no. I don't like that reaction. I'm just gonna equip the new stuff. I'll worry about mods when I'm on my own and no one's waiting on me. Or I guess we have to wait on Spencer anyway. I have a lot of weapons I have a lot of melees to choose from. Dual heat swords just sound sick, but also this thing looks kind of rad. Oh, this thing looks tight as hell, man. Oh, yeah, let's use that thing, man. It reminds me of the Karis from RuneScape. That thing's looks swick as swell, dude. Give me Carnus Mandible. My lawyer's dog. And give me a... I'm lightheaded. Are you a slash weapon? More of puncture. But slash is not too far behind, so I'll do that. Alright, well, yeah, I'll just do it again, because Spencer's he's doing his thing. He's starting up, so I got time. Streamline, ability efficiency. Do I have anything in here I want? Narrow-minded, I think. And then I'll upgrade my narrow-minded, because I think that's what you're supposed to do. I mean, I always say supposed to, but you know what I mean. It's good to do. Oh, it's expensive to do. Let's do just that. For now, I do gotta trade my statues in sometime. I have a few of them on me. So 72% ability duration, but less range. So my range is shot. But then I get something that gives range, I think. Or no, I feel like there's another one that does like range up, but something else down, and I guess it all balances out or something. Or maybe it doesn't. I don't know. I think I want blind rage and then fleeting expertise. I think. And you just get like all of those, and then you have like... Well, I don't know. It's fine. I think. I hope. I don't know. I don't know if I'm doing it right. I wish more websites like the Warframe one, or like when I play TFT, that's a big one too, where I'm like, I wish they would explain why the things they recommend are good. Like why it works, so I can understand things on a deeper level and improve at the game. 1 second, gentlemen. I need to go to my Void Relics, type in Nidus, and then this one. I need that max. Yeah, that needs to be maxed out. I only have one I can do still. Kind of painful. Yeah, just send it. Still need more. I need a lot more still. Good golly gee. Well, at least I got one. I was gonna do something else. Oh, I was gonna sell the MK1 Bratton because I hate you. Get out of my life. We're doing a run for the Nidus piece. I only have enough to enhance one of mine, so... I mean, I guess it's up to y'all. I don't know what your intentions are with this, or with my daughter. Oh, I made an extractor. Give me that. And then, I need to make another weapon. I'll check it just 1 second. I just need to start a new gun. Burst on. Ew. It sounds shitty. Glass enemies with glass slugs. Okay. Let's make that. Let me check. Equipment. Void relics. It is. Mine is a meso. Much like myself. Phantasma is a legit one. Okay. Heard. Oh, I don't have the blueprint. Can I buy the blueprint? I know I was working on buying all the blueprints at some point. Is it a primary? And then you filter all these. And then you type faint. Oh. Irradiate enemies with a continuous stream of deadly plasma. Charging secondary fire releases a glob of plasma that erupts with homing bomblets on impact. Increased magazine capacity when wielded by Revenant. Okay. I'll take 20. Noise alarming. My stream in a nutshell. Fan. I don't have argon crystals. I gotta use my sentient cores for that. Oi, noi. Okay. I think I'm good. I don't think I forget anything. I still need void traces, unfortunately. To really, like, to make sure I really get the most out of them. I mean, you can do the same mission, I guess. We could do the one refined one. Okay. And the meso options aren't great. I guess we'll just do the mobile defense one. Because we can at least do it speedily. Oh, wait, I have 2. No? Wait, why is this exceptional? Did I do that by accident? Well, that explains why I didn't have as many things as I thought I did. I felt like I was like... I felt like I had like... I must have upgraded one by accident. Well, that's annoying. Shit, dude. They drop infused sometimes? Oh, so I just got lucky, actually. Poggers to have. I apologize if I'm doing anything inefficiently, and I am open to constructive criticism if I am doing something that is, you know, making this less smooth or, you know, etc., etc. You know what I'm trying to say. You just let me know. Let's get it started in ha. Let's get it started in here. Let's get it started in ha. Give me that. Okay, you can have it. What the fuck? The goddamn gravity sphere. The goddamn... The gravity sphere. Ooh. The chicken cobbler. Ooh. Yes. Oh, that's nice. Ooh, what a nice dry heat. Whoa. All hail the ball. All hail the ball. Who's out there? Hey. What the fuck is this shadow apparition? Me holding the damn window and knock there on Toten? I'm trying to get into the headspace. I mean, it doesn't matter right now, but I feel like in general I should try to be in the headspace of like occasionally looking at my teammates' stuff to make sure, you know, we're all doing okay. Damn, put these idiots in the time bubble. Are you breaking up with me, dude? Dead? Do forget the thing. Now that's an alloy drum. My alloy game is severely hindered at the moment. I'm in the goddamn goo. I'm in the goddamn. Just because you guys have been good boys this year. Zoinks. Oh, he's dead. This floor is tripping me up, man. Dude, I hate glass floors. They're freaky. Unlimited ammo. Oh, wow. This feels like cheating. That's illegal. Can I have that all the time? Hello. I'm gaming. Look, I'm gaming. I'm doing it. I'm really doing it. What do you mean I ran out of ammo? You said I couldn't do that. Liar. Well, I broke the free ammo. They got pissed at me. What the fuck? You can't just do that. Excuse me? They just turned my free ammo off. The devs went into the damn code and hacked me. Oh, I got 10 void traces. Ouchie. Ouchie mama. Hoochie coochie. Scatter hoochie. This looks fun. I'm on the damn hand. Do my teeth feel really weird? Oh, you start with all your abilities, but they still have to re-level up. Interesting. Pinteresting. Stay blessed, young blood. I'm helping.
The odds were against us, Tenno, but we did it. Mission complete.
I assume we're all good. Hello. Shooting gallery. No. Are you threatening me? What are we pinging? It's a Soma chord tone. I want that. Good eyes, good eyes. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Once I figure out this wall, y'all fucked. Okay. I'm never gonna figure out this wall, I guess. Whoop. Thank you. This is what you are. Sorry. Damn, Bringleton. Ah, never lucky. Damn, I will take Shade Prime, cause that's also sounds cool. So I might be able to make this. Oh, it's 45 ducks. Damn. Well, we still got 2 more chances, but I'd be lying if I said that's not how I wanted that to go. Or I'd be lying if I said that's how I wanted it to go. Yes. That is how the sentence is structured. I opened 3 lockers, actually. So, I'm kind of on one. My dogs are they're playing. Oh, you're both Helios Prime. No. You both have... No, that's not a Warframe. That's a freaking companion. Corrosive projection, huh? Is that the move? Should I be corrosively projecting? Because I have it, I just don't use it. Alright, well I still have a few tries. This one, I mean, I'm a little worried. No, wait, do I have a few tries? On the chassis? Oh wait, maybe I don't. Oh no. I have 2 tries. I have 2 tries on the chassis. Yeah, I still need rel or void traces. I don't know why I keep getting the names mixed up. So, I'm down to do pretty much whatever. Farm to our little heart's contents. Bratton Prime have that. I have like almost everything in there though. Yeah, that's fine. What a man, what a man, what a mighty good man. Whoa.
Umbrella Tenno operative is raiding this ship for supplies.
Coward.
You are here to distract the enemy. Traitor
The...
Void Fishers. You need them to open a relic, but are you confident you can withstand their fury?
Yes.
They have just shut down all systems. I'm sending life support capsules your way.
What, he got a damn vacuum cleaner? Oh my god.
Fallen enemies will drop crucial life support. Be on the lookout.
Oh wait, should we just... Well, I guess it doesn't. They'll transform. Oh, that's the guy I wanted to try. That guy looked cool. He like a cow. He got the damn cowboy hat. That's just radical. I wish I had a cowboy hat. I mean, there's some fellas back there. But I don't know if we care.
Prepare for life support.
Hi, Bringleton. Bye, Bringleton. You be good out there, Bringleton. Tear apart the souls of the non-believers, Bringleton. Good boy.
I've delivered a life support capsule to the area.
Hello.
Activating it will buy him more time.
I got him. Should probably go get that. Okay. Chill lo-fi Warframe gun sound effects to commit murders to. Damn, he's hot. Damn. He's fine. Mommy. You got the spectral cowboy boots? I'm into that. I'm into that cowboy shit. Is there a way to see what other people's buffs do? Oh. Increase damage. Arcane Fury. Thurable. Stop hitting me, I'm thinking. I also have things.
Another life support capsule is now available.
I feel like a baby playing with their parents. Like, it's like when you ask someone, when you're a kid and you ask stealth attack, huh? When you ask, like, your older brother to do a level for you. That's how this feels. And you're like, I don't even have the proper brain function to understand how you're operating at this level. I haven't developed enough brain cells to comprehend what I'm witnessing. My brain matter lacks what it needs to seed what this is. I want this stuff, hello. Oh, I'm lagging again. Please stop. Oh, it's coming. My internet is having a stroke. I don't know why. Doesn't even matter how hard you try. Sorry for my internet being a little shoddy right now. Not shoddy like shoddy, like shoddy like shoddy. You know what I'm saying? Not like shoddy. Yeah, my bulbs are like not even connecting. Don't know what would be. Don't know what would be making this happen. I don't actually know what internet I'm on. Oh no, no, I'm not gonna get a big. No, internet, please, not now. Give me this. I can close this. I don't think that's doing anything. Oh, shit. Yeah, that's good. Internet, please cooperate. How do you like this? I can't even pick stuff up. Ugh. Okay, I think I'm back to being stable. In the game, anyway. Haha. I don't know if there's an optimal time to go sweep up your loot. I apologize if I'm throwing anything off. Or maybe it doesn't, like, matter. the? What the? Oh, he's dead. Let me pick it up. Oh, why is my internet's been weird all week. But I thought it was done being weird. Nope, I'm like dying. Oh my god. What internet connection am I on? Blah. I pressed the wrong button. Where is... One second. Sorry. Sorry, my internet is acting up, and I'm trying to figure out if it's my internet company or if it is other people on the internet doing something. It's all the porn I'm downloading right now? On my internet? How? Is this what... Warframe just opened up my IP to be able to let people download things? On my internet? Man. I finally got a chance to actually like grind this out with people. I'm gonna have to end the damn stream at this rate.
That's it. You opened the relic. Finish your mission and we'll take a look inside.
What the? What the? Sorry. I feel like I'm just like leeching now, but I'm just trying to discern this issue. Or discern where it's coming from, rather. Okay. Everyone is leeching when Mesa is in the game? Oh, okay. That's really that strong? Jeez. Oh, I see. I understand. Good lord. Yeah, maybe I'll just... It seems pretty bad. I might just have to dip. Please, at least show me the rewards, please! Please? Please? Oh my god, I'm so sorry. Just give it to me, thank you! Thank you! I don't deserve it! But thank you! Okay, I gotta. I don't even know if I gotta do internet to Garbo. I'm just gonna type it just in case it doesn't come through. An existing connection was forcibly closed by the remote host. Okay? Does that mean my chat message didn't even work? God damn it, man. I'm sorry, guys. I'm really sorry. I don't know if I don't know. We had like really bad internet for like or one of our other. We had two connections, and one of them went down, so everyone came onto this one, and then I don't know if we're still all or I was asking my mom if some of us are still on it or what's happening. I don't think that has anything to do with it. I think it's just acting up. I apologize. But thanks for doing this with me anyway. This is good. I got what I needed. I only need the chassis. Ugh. I'll just type. I can't type. Or I'm just going to type in the chat because I don't know if it's lagging or buffering or what's happening on the other end. Appreciate you guys helping out. Sorry, my internet is feces. Will that message even send? It took a second, but we got there. I can hear and see. Stream is fine? It is. Oh, I don't think it is. Oh, Lord.
It's that time again, dreamers. That's all we...
Yeah, I'm consuming frames. I'll just hop off for tonight. I'll probably do... Alright, well, hopefully this gets through. I might do another Warframe on Sorry, my brain is all over. On Saturday, I'll probably do the same thing I did yesterday, which is I'll play through a short game, and then I'll do Warframe after. So if you guys are free Saturday, I'd love to do more of this, and see if we can get the chassis, and hopefully you guys can get whatever you're after as well. But I didn't realize... I appreciate you guys helping me. Sorry, my brain is hardwired to fucking explode. I appreciate you guys helping me out. I did not realize how much better everything was with other people. I'm after clout. Oh yeah, Dot Moodus Palm. Make sure you follow his TikTok. He's got a voluptuous ass and he knows how to shake it. The Man Rammer. Do I even need to tell you what he's good at? Thank you for watching the stream. Sorry that it's ending on a bit of a soured note, but thus is life. Have a lovely evening, and I will catch y'all on tomorrow's stream. More Baldur's Gate 3 with William, and Final Fantasy 13 2. Also, William is still live, so I will once more link his Twitch in the chat. If you would like to go over there and watch him, if I can find my chat, and show him some love. He's playing Darksiders 1. Sorry, I was kind of all over mentally this stream, but if it's any consolation, I feel better than I did when I started. Goodbye.